going viral, nigga. Find out, herbs and munchies. Going crazy.
Herbs and Munchies podcast. I'm your host, Von Don P, and today we have a Ruth Proctor, best-selling author behind the book I Survive, You Can Too, which is a story of her life to date, surviving a series of devastating events, including molestation, domestic violence, and infidelity. How you doing, Ruth?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I appreciate you coming through Herbs and Munchies.
No, thank you for having me.
Definitely. And what the people don't know, we are fam.
Yes. That's my cousin.
Definitely. And Ruth has been through a whole press run. Believe it or not, guys, she's been on NBC Palm Springs,
Yes.
recently The Spill,
Yep.
Fox News, a slew of radio stations
Yes.
and podcasts.
Yes.
You've been doing the work out here promoting the book, and I'm fascinated about your journey because you actually self-published this book.
Yep. Yes. Hard work.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll give the fans a little bit more knowledge about what you're doing. So I just want to get into a little bit about you. So just tell us a little bit about who you are and where you come from.
Well, as I'm a small town country girl, and grew up, in North Carolina. Pretty sure you guys can hear it in my accent. But just grew up with my family. At 5, I was taken from my mom, placed in foster care, and I would say for the next 6 years, I was kind of all over the place. Multiple homes, multiple foster homes, family members end up getting us on the last situation, the last foster care home, and from there we kind of was back and forth for a couple years with my mom and my cousin, and then eventually we were taken completely from my mom and placed with our cousin permanently, and that's from that point we were adopted. So, and that's how I kind of formed the book. I formed the book from journals, formed the book from just, my memory and everything that I remembered and kind of tucked away and knew it was time to, talk about this book. But definitely I've been working for a long time, been in the workforce since I was 14 and just continue to just expound on life and just continue to just grow as a person.
Nice. That's a long journey there.
Yes.
You began with 5 years old. So I did hear you say that in your other video. So I kind of want to just step into the life of 5-year-old Ruth
Yes.
just for a moment.
Mhm.
During those times, moving around as a kid, what were you thinking? Like what was going
Just displacement, abandonment. I kind of felt like I was never, at home.
on?
No matter where I went, even though, I had by the time I got to my cousin's house, our cousin's house, I mean, it was supportive, they were very supportive. They were very influential in who I am now.
Mhm.
But they didn't really understand the trauma that I had already seen. And they didn't understand um, the things that I had been exposed to, they honestly didn't ask,
Yeah.
and I don't even think that we as a culture, even know how to ask. We don't really deal with trauma. We just kind of tuck it away and go on about our day and continue to, move as a people. But that's really not so. That's really not healthy. It's not
Mhm.
survival. So 5-year-old Ruth was just really trying to understand, what's next. Like, where am I going? Who am I going to be with? Who are these people? Are these people safe? Are they going to protect me? When
Yeah.
your own family don't support, when your own family don't protect you, you don't feel protected by anybody. So you learn to just cope. You learn to survive, and so that's hence the title. You just surviving every day, surviving, the things that are thrown your way that you don't even understand. At 5, you haven't even
Yeah.
lived. You don't, you're not even mature. So, I had to grow up quick.
Yeah. Because at 5, you just kind of looking for somebody to love,
Yep.
just a guide to
Yes.
guide you through life.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was tough. And you said you had once lived in the attic.
Mhm. Oh yeah. At I would say probably I had to be maybe like six,
Okay.
6-ish, and that was the second home. So the second home was a pretty. It looked like a plantation home. That's what it reminds me of.
Okay.
In the country, the bigger the homes, the older they look, and they look more like plantation homes. It remind me of a plantation home. And across the street was a field, and in
Uh,
that field was corn, peas, all of that. So when we arrived, I'm kind of like, what in the hell? Where am I at? It just really it was just very just like confusing for a 5 or 6 year old. So, it was there about 10 kids, kids were in and out. And I just seen a lot and was exposed to a lot. And being in that attic reminded me of no protection, no, nobody to protect me. Um, no child deserves or needs to be in an attic. Being in an attic is, you hear the creaks, you hear all the movement downstairs, you don't know what's going on, you hear the creaking from the window pane and all of that. It was just too much for a 5, 6 year old to endure. But I just covered my head under the covers, and every night I just, found a way to just go to sleep. But it was very, very confusing for me.
Yeah, I can see that being traumatic. Especially not knowing who's down below you,
Right. At
in the
all. I didn't know them
house.
at all. So
Yeah, got you.
it ain't like mommy's downstairs. It's like
Yeah,
I don't even know who the hell this lady is. I don't even remember her name like that.
got you.
So it just shows the amount of I didn't get anything from her. I know the first home I remember. Very loving, very supportive. Even to this day, when I see them,
Supposed to have you
same
reach back out.
response. Yeah, they go
Okay,
to they
nice,
from the home church.
nice.
So at the time, I didn't know them, but when they began to join the family church, it was like, wow, this is the same lady that had me, the first time.
Hmm.
So that was very like calm, but the next situations was not.
Since then,
hmm
what inspired you to actually put your story out there?
I want to say just people continuing to just ask me questions. I really felt a urge, and I felt like God was just like constantly in my back. I felt like He was punching me in my back,
Hmm.
literally,
Was that
like get it.
frustrating though, having all those questions?
Yeah. Well, no, it really didn't bother me. The questions didn't really bother me. It was more so just like, wow, like you got all this stuff bottled up inside, and you need to let it out. You need to just, your story can help somebody else. You still, you are normal. You have a normal life.
Hmm.
You haven't allowed what has happened to you to affect you as much as an adult. Of course, it's affected my relationships with people, but it hasn't affected me as a person. I've used that as a platform to just continue to level up and continue to just try to be the best mom that I can be, to be the best person I can be, to show love in spite of hate.
Hmm.
And so, I began to just realize that wow, I need to help. This story can help people. It's not about me. And once I realized that it wasn't about me, it wasn't about my pain, it wasn't about the tears, it wasn't about none of that. It was about other people. This I went through that to help other people. And once I realized that, I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, I know you've helped a lot of people already, and even your two little daughters, you
Yeah.
take them everywhere with you. So I've seen them with you on your photo
Yep.
shoots, on your podcast runs. So I mean, when they get older, they're gonna be like, "My mom is the bomb,"
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I pray that every day I just try to be a good, example to them. Is Well, you ain't have, that, it's challenging. My adopted mom was great. Our cousin, she was
Hmm.
great. But everybody has their flaws. Everybody have their demons. And, I just tried to model the things I liked
Hmm.
and the things that I benefited from and, kind of chew the meat, spit out the bones type of thing. So I just try to just continue to be a good mom every day.
Yeah, I get that. You're doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
I think I seen your daughters maybe like 2 months ago at
hmm
a baby shower. So
Yes.
definitely
Yeah, they right
splitting
there.
image of you.
Yes, they right there. They think they're their mom. They think that they are my mom. So it's a lot.
And so where can they find your book? And you also have apparel on your website as
Yes,
well.
yes. So www.a.ruthproctor.com is where the book is, as well as Amazon. If you click on books and then you click in my name or the title, the book will come up as well. I have merch. I have a workbook and a journal and an online course coming in the
Oh
next couple
wow.
months. So we have a good amount of stuff coming, and part two of the book.
Okay. Part two. Yeah, okay. So you actually left us with a cliffhanger
Oh
and
yeah, it's a lot of
oh,
cliffhangers. And what most people don't know is in the book I talk about, ending my marriage, but I don't really go into it. So the second
okay.
book is going to be really talking about, my this last marriage, the trauma that I endured in that marriage and a lot of the things that I didn't talk about. I'm going to be even more transparent because when I wrote this book, I was terrified.
Got you.
Now I'm kind of like, let's go. So it's a whole nother
You done
mode,
been through
a
it,
whole
yeah.
nother, realm of me. And just trying to open up more and be more, open to doing this. I was terrified in the beginning. So I'm a very private person. So to put this
Dang.
book out, it's been like, oh my God, I'm having to, prepare myself and thinking that everything has to be perfect when I'm on camera and it doesn't.
Yeah.
So just really trying to let my, my hair down and relax and just be me. So,
Yeah, that's the funniest thing I'm seeing about this podcast. A lot of people want to see when I make cuts,
yep.
they want to see the raw video. They're
Right.
like, "No, I want to. We don't care." Like,
Right.
and I'm thinking I'm saying too many
Right.
likes,
Me
and
too. I'm
They're
like,
like,
I
we
was
want it all.
cussing.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And so it's a learning process, I tell you.
As it is all when we're trying to do something new.
Yes, but this is dope. I think what you're doing is amazing. You definitely got people watching. You got people's
Thank you.
attention, and when you got it attention, you got to keep going. So I love it. I'm so proud of you.
Awesome. I
You
will
my little
not
baby
stop.
cousin. So I'm like, I'm on your
Thank you.
show. This is crazy. I remember when you was a little boy. So I'm just blessed and I'm grateful.
No doubt. I appreciate it. Thank
Yes.
you. So I want to get into like, what are you doing outside of the book to spread awareness about topics
Yes.
that you that you went through and
Mhm.
endured?
What's funny is, I went to undergrad to go to law school. I'm
Okay.
thinking I'm gonna be a lawyer. And, pretty much at the end of undergrad, I realized I don't want to be a lawyer. This is not what I want to do. And so I started working part-time as a mentor in the mental health field.
Okay.
And that part-time gig became my full-time gig.
Wow.
And so not knowing, my mom was diagnosed with schizophrenia at 5, bipolar at 5. So I've been dealing with mental health my entire life. But it's crazy that I started a part-time job in the mental health field that now became my career.
Full
So,
circle.
working in the mental health field for the past 17 years, being an owner of a mental health agency in multiple states,
That's a
I
blessing.
have
Yeah.
continued to just help little boys and little girls that look like me.
Mhm.
Little boys and little girls that have been through traumatic events, that have been molested, that have been, abused, and seeing them and having to say, okay, well, you know what, you are going through this, but you know what, I've been through it too. And for them to be shocked, for them to say, wow, really, Miss Ruth, you really went through that? And I'm like, yeah, they're like, wow, I guess I can be okay. Yes, you can.
Mhm.
So, it's amazing how, God, shifts our life. And, you thinking that you have everything set and you're gonna do this and you're gonna do this. And when things change, now it all makes sense. Now it all makes sense as to why I'm in the mental health field. Now it all makes sense as to why he had me in the rooms, starting part-time jobs and speaking to kids in the mental health field, not knowing that I would do a book
Mhm.
10, 15 years later. So definitely, bringing awareness to, the mental health field, definitely bringing awareness to my nonprofit. My nonprofit is catered to foster kids that look like me, and just really trying to bridge
Dope.
that gap because people don't understand that just because you're adopted or just because you're in a foster care program doesn't mean that pain or, not having your parents goes away. It's great being in a loving home. It's great having great foster parents, but you still yearn for that relationship with your real parents,
Mhm.
especially if you already seen your parents and knew your parents. If you were a baby and you went from, the hospital to, your foster parent and that's all you know, then it's a little different. You still feel that yearning if that family tells you. But when you are already in your family home and then you're ripped from that and then you're
Yeah, I
put
couldn't
into
imagine.
multiple homes, it's traumatic. You're like, why am I, why can't I be with my real parents? Why can't I, you know, have this relationship with my parents or why my parents don't want me, that type of thing. Because my father gave up his rights. So not only am I dealing with, my mom is sick and she can't take care of me, but she wants to. But now, why did my dad give up his rights? So it was just so much to deal with. So I want to be that voice for that foster child that can't speak, that can't, articulate themselves because I mean, I'm in my 30s and I'm just getting to a place where I'm talking about it. So
Yeah.
all of us don't have that chance. All of us aren't able to, really talk about it. It's challenging. Sometimes I cry through interviews. Sometimes I, cry through writing, cry through typing. So, you just have to have grace with yourself. But I really wanted to bring awareness to those two areas for sure.
You definitely are. And like you said, it's eyes on you as well.
Yeah.
You've been everywhere
Yeah. It's been
promoting this
crazy.
book. Um, but yeah, I could definitely see just being young, not understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
And I feel like God just brought you full circle.
He did. It's
Because he
crazy.
put you in the field.
Yes.
And now you
Right.
know all about it. So you're able to tell your family members
Right.
this what was going on when I was
Yes.
younger.
Yes.
You're able to understand. So
It's crazy because, even though, some have read it, many haven't said anything. And, I
gotcha.
think I thought that, and I feared that, that's part of the reason why I was very apprehensive to, release the book I was just worried about all the naysays. I think I even sent you a message. And I'm like, Jay, I'm just bothered about, what the family's gonna say.
Hmm.
And, I had to let that go because, it's not about them. It's not about, who feels slighted. It's not about who feels, that I said too much. It's about, bringing awareness that this happens in every family. I don't care what color, I don't care what race,
Hmm.
what ethnicity, you know, it happens and we got to stop it. And we got to really, help those kids that don't have a voice. So I'm grateful.
Absolutely. Um, well, we're gonna get a little bit off of the book, but
That was
I
good.
but I thank you. I thank you for,
Yes.
coming on Herbs and Munchies and sharing that story.
Yes.
I was a little nervous
No.
starting this out because I didn't want to offend anyone.
Mm-mm.
But you did great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, and now I want to talk a little bit about how you actually got this book out. And now did you go to school for I guess anything in the writing field?
No, well, grad school, I did public master's in public administration. So you're writing grants, you're writing stuff for city council. It's more so like in the public sector. So ironically, in a sense, I was kind of placed in a situation where I could, public speak, be, a manager over many and that type of thing. But no, I never in a million years thought that I would be writing. And I definitely didn't think my English and my writing skills was that good. So here we are, multiple edits and stuff like that. But no, it's been a process, but I'm grateful too.
Well, you actually self-published this book
Yes.
yourself. And you put out a TED Talk explaining how you did that, and you walked them down. Now you said, preparing for this book, you had to do a photo shoot.
Yes.
You hired a graphic designer.
Yes.
And now what I've learned is how to push the book. You said you need a marketing and a developmental strategy.
Yes.
And people also get a publicist.
Yes.
I don't have a publicist, but I would
You don't
love
have to,
to. Yeah.
It'll help you,
Yeah, no, I would definitely love to have a publicist, especially when I speak on broad and
Right.
world topics.
Right.
Just to make sure I'm good on my
Exactly.
end. But that was interesting to hear you say. And then also I heard you say you choose self-publishing because you didn't want anyone benefiting from your work.
Right.
So just explain that a little bit and kind of walk us down your struggles and what it all took to get this book out.
Yes. What most people don't know is when you go with a big, publishing company, they get all, pretty much everything. You get like 1% of whatever it is that your book is. And I knew I bust my ass for this book. I wrote, it took me years to really get it out on paper. So I was like, no, I'm gonna self-publish. I'm doing everything. And I've always been the type of person to kind of cut out the middleman.
Mhm.
Anything that I feel like I can do myself, I try to do. So, I just wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I talked to I want to say probably about 5 different authors, different genres, just really trying to get that wisdom to make the right decision over the past like 5 years. And,
Wow.
I talked to a writer for Forbes, and he was like, you only get, a dollar, $2 a book. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. He was like, you get your money from public speaking. I'm like, okay. And so the more and more I thought about it, I was like, no, I'm not gonna let, a big company, you know, publish my book. Yeah, they do all the
Yeah.
work, they do all the marketing, they do all of that. And it's great, if that's your area. But this was too close to home. This was too um it was too much. I worked too hard to give this all the pretty much all the proceeds to a big company. I wanted everything. I wanted to do all the work, and I feel like you get all the work kind of comes with more reward.
Mhm.
So me doing all those things, me going to have to do marketing, me going to events and doing tours and trying to get my book in bookstores. Those things is what teaches me. It's how I grow as an author. It's how I grow as a publisher, and it really kind of helps me understand all the pieces of really producing this book. So I wanted to go through all of that. It's been a lot. It's been a lot financially, emotionally, physically, but it's paying off.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had an interview with Director E, and she said she wanted to go through the steps as well,
Yep.
so she know when
Hmm.
she's ready to hire out.
Right.
Okay, you're not BSing me.
Right.
I know what you need to be
Yep.
doing. No, that's under.
Hmm.
So I definitely understand that.
Yes, I did hire a company to edit, detail edit, line edit, and proofread my book. So I had a company and a female, both female companies to actually black female companies,
Okay.
publishing company to edit it to make sure that my words were correct, that I wasn't having run on sentences and that type of stuff. Like I said, I didn't feel like I was a per se a writer. I just knew I had a story. And I didn't really want anybody to ghostwrite for me. I didn't want anybody to do any of that. I wanted to do it all. So here we are, 2021. I survived weekend too. So I'm grateful, but it's definitely been a process with writing.
Awesome, awesome. And your marketing, I seen you were out at the Super Bowl,
Yes.
and that was that a part of your plan as
Yes.
well?
So I mean,
You had
my
pictures with
team,
everybody.
yes, the team has been amazing. Shout out to Zach Temperman with ZTPR. That's my publicist.
Oh,
He got me in a lot of rooms. The whole purpose of a publicist is to get you in the rooms you can't get in yourself. And it was amazing having him and being part of his team. And he got me in the rooms. And so, once I get in the room, it's
it
my
was
job.
up to you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to me to push the book. It's up to me to talk and to communicate with people. And I'm a social person,
Yo,
so
she
thank God.
had people holding her book, smiling, cheesing. She worked that room.
Yes, and shout out to Tamika Nishalay. She has been amazing. She has worked with some of everybody, so she has definitely like pushed me and said, "Nope, you gotta step outside your comfort zone. You gotta talk. You gotta go live, and you gotta talk to these people." So really,
Mhm.
just having a good team around me has been amazing. Just pushing me, saying, "You gotta do it. You gotta speak." And so, every room or everywhere that Zach got me in, I knew I needed to do other things outside of the rooms he got me in.
Gotcha.
So just anywhere that I was, exposed to or invited to, I would take that opportunity, but I would also do a tour with it. So if I was invited to Super Bowl, then guess what? I'm doing a tour at Super Bowl too. So I would
Mhm.
pop up and do tours. You just got to be creative. You have to find your market and just figure out, what people want to hear and what they want to see, and just continue to just expound on what you learn and what's growing and what's not.
I'm learning from you.
I'm learning from you.
I look at your Instagram and it's lit.
It's a growing process, man. I'm like, dang, I'll be having to watch analytics. And I didn't know, having my boutique 8 years ago and learning analytics and learning social media that would help me 2021 to know how to market my book.
And that store is still up.
Crazy.
I Shop Posh,
Yep,
right?
iShopPosh.com. I actually have a CBD line on there now.
Nice.
So that's
Herbs and
coming.
munchies.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So that CBD line will have, we have sea moss, CBD shea butter, and power balls to help with stress. Like the balls in the
The bath bombs?
bath bombs. So
Hey.
it'll be a relaxing bath bomb and some tonics for for your digestive system.
Hey, I want to try some of those
Yes,
products.
I got you.
I like
will
to
bring everything by
indulge.
you. Yes, I got you. I got you.
No doubt. Hey Ruth, anything else you want to add to this interview here?
I would definitely say I'm proud of you. I think what you're doing is amazing. I think that you have a voice, and when we have a voice, we have to be mindful of what we say. And you are speaking something positive. You are talking about things that's positive, and when you want to test a man's character, give him power. And what we do with our power and how we bring on other people and how we help other people is what says a lot about us. So I want to commend you and tell you that I love you and I appreciate you having
Thank
me
you.
on here.
Love you as
Because
well.
when we get in these rooms, we don't tend to pull back. We don't tend to help. And I've seen you do that, and I try to make sure that I do that. I try to make sure that any room I'm in and everything that I do, that I'm reaching back. And I had to learn, I would say, in these last 4 months with having this book out, that I can't look back at everybody.
Mhm.
I can't pull everybody in. Some people can't go.
Mhm.
And so I just want to remind you of that and just, keep on pushing. The ones that want to go, let's go. The ones that don't, you got to stay back. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to continue to go higher. And the ones that's with me, I'm like, let's go. So that's what I would say.
I'll keep those words locked in here forever. I thank you. A. Ruth Proctor. Y'all make sure y'all go to www.aruthproctor.com. I
book.
Survive, you can too. She has apparel on the site.
Yes.
CBD line coming with the sea moss and the bath bombs,
Yes.
everything. She's doing it up. Ruth, I thank you again.
Thank
I'm going to
you.
give you a hug.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. I appreciate you.
This has been the Herbs and Munchies podcast. We will see you in the next one.
Yes. Look, I left the gym. I'm all sweaty.
We go viral, nigga. Buy herbs and munchies. Going crazy.